Ladies and gentlemen, we are now gathered to induct the newest entrant into the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame. Our newest entrant into the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame, you might say, is the richest Sportswire Radio Hall of Famer that we'll have to date, because figuratively and literally, he is worth billions. In fact, for those that are listening and watching on Sportswire Radio, compared to the 26 prior inductees in the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame, I have no doubt that their net worths combined would still not be as big as our newest member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame. Our newest entrant into the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame is also important because he is the best friend of the current wrestling world heavyweight champion, Aaron Jones. Our newest entrant into the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame is also important because I have been told that he is still the current versus the world wrestling YouTube champion. And since we are on YouTube, we actually get our first ever YouTube champion of any sort to be in our Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame. Our newest entrant into the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame, though, has dominated the wrestling scene throughout the past several years. In addition to places like VTW, DBW, where he's made his home, being a champion in multiple titles of that company he has held and dominated in. And in 2023, he won the second most matches in the entire company, only behind some guy that, well, he's got a name judgment toward him, and we'll certainly leave that name out for another time on Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame. But, ladies and gentlemen, the newest member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame, I think, is also an important one because, as the host of the Sports Report, the owner of Sportswire Radio, the Reverend Tom Bryce, your MC for our newest member to the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame, I believe that this will be a Hall of Fame for the future because, while he's certainly accomplished a lot in many places throughout the Mid-Atlantic and the Northeast over the past more than half decade he's been in the ring, I believe that the best is yet to come from our newest member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame. And I can assure you that this won't be the first time he'll be inducted into the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame, because I can promise you that he'll be inducted maybe even as a best friend of some guy, Aaron. Maybe he'll be inducted for a group or two he's in. Maybe he'll be inducted for what he does in the future. And that's why, ladies and gentlemen, I am very honored to officially induct as the 27th member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame, and alongside some of the biggest names to have ever come on in the 5-year history of Sportswire Radio, such as the likes of Dean Olmark, who's only defeated Jushin Thunder Liger Bryan Danielson, the natural-born fighter R.P. Davis, the only person in the entire country of Britain to have been a boxing world champion and a wrestling world champion, Luke Leyland, the first ever British fighter to have fought in Dambe at the African Warriors Fighting Championship with over 100,000 followers. Joshua Fletcher, the owner and promoter and founder of Explosive Championship Wrestling, a.k.a. XCW. Our first ever pro wrestling promoter and owner, James Barris, of Cullery Championship Wrestling. And a list that goes on and on and on. But now it's time to officially induct our 27th member into the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame, the Bitcoin billionaire, Chase Wakefield. And before we do that, I'll certainly try to do my best to top the latest inductee that we had last night, the It Factor Cyrus, because I'll certainly know that he'll remind everybody that he is greatness personified, and the accolades may not lie, but there's no other person in our Hall of Fame that is figuratively and literally a Bitcoin billionaire and Aaron Jones' best friend. So it's now time to give him that usual introduction that everybody else has gotten, and the Hall of Fame one that he certainly deserves. So with that, without further ado, here on the Sports Report, number one. Sports Show. The VTW YouTube champion,
Yes.
a Bitcoin billionaire, Aaron Jones' best friend. His
One and
name
only.
is Chase Wakefield. The champ is here. And officially, congratulations. You're the newest member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame and our 27th member. Congratulations.
Wow, of course, the introductions are always top notch when it comes to
This is my
Tom
longest one
Price.
officially, by the way.
Longest one.
5:55. That was the
I've
longest one for a billionaire.
I've always wanted to say that you should be in commentary for like soccer, like football.
Well, it's funny you said that to break the fourth wall for a second. My guest who's coming on next, I don't want to say his name because it's a surprise, and he messaged me randomly. He's like, I've been thinking to ask you this. He's known me for almost 2 years now. He said, I was thinking to ask you this. I'm like, what is it? I'm thinking, oh boy, what did I say now? He's, you ever think about doing announcing or commentating? Because I think you'd really be perfect for it. I'd love to see you come
Oh
over to
yeah.
England. And I'm like, well, we'll see. Never say never. So, there
I
you go.
think you can top DVG when it comes to announcing people into the ring.
Well, apparently,
It'd be
I hear through the
perfect.
grapevine he's no longer in DBW, so the spot's open. I hear.
Yeah, it's. I'd rather have you than that nerd DVG, so I'm perfectly fine with that.
Uh, well, I mean, I wish him well. Obviously, we're honored to have him in the Hall of Fame. I know Mr. Cyrus would probably agree with you on that, but we'll certainly come back to it. I'll say hello to different people, but I do want to ask you officially, as I asked everybody else. And by the way, it's a really, to me, impressive class that we have in the Hall of Fame. Justin Parsley's in there. We have
Yeah.
Fletch that's in there. We have Josh Allen from TBW. RPD, I mean, oh my God, RPD we spoke about, Dean Allmark, Luke Leyland. I mean, it's a great list of people that we have in the Hall of Fame. But what does it officially mean to you now to be in the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame?
I think first of all, being inducted in something like this is very special to me because for me, I'm not someone that really pictures themselves as someone being inducted to a Hall of Fame or getting this type of award, especially with a class like this for guys like Dean Allmark. Dean is someone I've watched years and years
Oh
now
my
and
God. I mean,
studied.
Dean Allmark. I mean, people ask me all the time. They're like, Dean Allmark? And I'm like, not only do I know him, he watches Sportswire Radio. In fact, I actually know him on I shouldn't say this, but I'm going to say I know him on a first name basis. Yeah, it's crazy.
It's really incredible to be in the same boat as all this amazing talent that we have. And being number 27 is a special number because, as you know, the Royal Rumble just happened, and we all know 27 is one of the
Yeah.
lucky numbers. So I'm glad to take number 27. And I just want to say it's a huge honor to really be a part of this, Tom. So I got to thank you to
No, I
have me
really
a part of
appreciate
this.
that. And, I really think it's a great class because it's really a legitimate thing. And it's such a legitimate thing that in your chair next week, I'm actually inducting a guy here that actually he's one of he's second to last school in the entire history of the city of New York to have played in the college basketball or any sports Final Four. It's a really big
Oh,
deal to
wow.
have this guy on the Hall of Fame. Yeah, it's the second. St. John's made it in '85,
Oh,
and he made it in '82,
oh
and
wow.
it's like a big deal. Yeah, it's like he was like a really big thing to have. And once he gets in the Hall of Fame next to this guy Danny Burns, it's gonna really like put the Hall. People are gonna be like, wow, you have this Hall of Fame. So not that we haven't already. I mean, obviously Dean Allmark. R.P. Davis, wrestled Anthony Ogogo, who's back in
Hmm.
AEW, and is the only person in the entire country of Britain to have been a boxing world champion, a wrestling world champion. Luke Leyland, we mentioned, who fought in Dombe in Nigeria, African Warriors Fighting Championship, and the list goes on and on. Chris Jones, a lot of the XCW guys, Fletch, Justin Parsley, but I think when we get him in the Hall of Fame, in addition to yourself, because obviously you're Aaron Jones' best friend, we don't want to really take nothing away from that, but the facts are is that I think the Hall of Fame on Sportswire is going to really jump up like times 10 once that happens. That's why I wanted to get you in now. And, also, and I wanted to really put this out there, especially for those that are listening and watching on Sportswire Radio. I really felt like that this is a Hall of Fame induction ceremony for the future because And I know we're going to talk about some current events, some things I'm really excited about, on a cause that I'm really supporting, which you're going to be on a card for. And you're reuniting actually with somebody that is no stranger to Sportswire. So I'm going to talk about that. But I really feel like, and this was the first one I've done of all the ceremonies. I've done, again, over 20 of them. A couple of them I announced on a podcast, so I didn't get a chance to do my usual lingo, but I've done about 21 or 22 of these before. And this is the first one, champ, that I really feel like this is a Hall of Fame induction ceremony for the future. Because I feel like what you're going to do years from now, what I feel like what you're going to do even in 1 year from now and 2 years from now, I do think that I'm going to be inducting you more than once. So that's why, to me, this is almost like a Hall of Fame ceremony for the future.
Man, I can definitely agree. I think there's a lot of things ahead on my career that is gonna not only make me not only a star now, but a star for the future. I could see many dream matches. We saw last year I faced RJ Carnage, for example, someone that's been on TV, been on
Absolutely. Yep.
pay-per-view, and who knows what 2024 has in store. I've worked with almost every type
Well,
of
this man here,
person.
Mr. Delta, Mr. Delta, I'd love to see that.
Oh yeah, it might come. Who knows? I've
He
been
was on
hearing
a
some
podcast,
ramblings.
by the way, not mine. Another one, Ace Reeds. I want to give him a shout out. He mentioned VTW and DBW.
Oh,
Just saying, he mentioned it.
we all know that Jack Telta has his eyes on both companies, and
Yep,
we all know DBW. I'm a mainstay at DBW, and on
absolutely.
VTW, I'm on the most amount of times.
We're gonna talk about that because I gotta say, I'm so fired up to talk about VTW. To me, it was almost like I couldn't believe what I saw. No joke, on Sunday's show. And I want to give a huge shout out to everybody. And I'm gonna plug VTW in a few minutes. I have the socials. I have your socials in a minute, but I mean, you were actually on VTW TV more than anybody else. You stole the show. So I'm really excited to definitely dive into that and talk about it. And also, you're in this Hall of Fame now because, and again, we love everybody that's in the Hall of Fame. James Barris is in there. Shout out to Mr. Barris. Shout out to Chris Jones. I mean, there's a long list of great people. Ernest Dubb, who covers the New York Mets. I appreciate him. My guys on the Sportswire radio team. But you're actually worth more than the prior 26 inductees. So you have to be in, because now we officially have a billionaire in the Hall of Fame. We didn't have one before.
It's been tough keeping that status of billionaire, but I've been playing my cards right, and I've been making right decisions, and I have the billionaire marquee name still intact. I mean, it may not be all in Bitcoin, but it's majority into Bitcoin.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to spend the whole show in Bitcoin, but as somebody that, let me put this in a very kind way, and I'm going to say hello to people in a second. Somebody that's worth in the digits. If I say the number, people are going to be like, "Man, Tom, do you W?" I might actually want to buy VTW, but I'll certainly hold on to that thought. But I would certainly say you're in the Hall of Fame though, and keep the billions. But we definitely wanted a billionaire in there. But I think it's a good time for me to do this before I get into some current events. I don't know if you know this or not, but obviously, with this Hall of Fame, we actually give something to the people that get inducted. People have asked me, Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame, is it legitimate? Is it something that, people really get something for? And I said, well, unlike the WWE Hall of Fame, when there's no actual physical thing, we actually present something. And then off the air, which will be on our website, you'll send me a photo so we can put it officially on our website. So we can actually have you right next to Cyrus. You'll actually be right next to Cyrus. What a small world there. But, but you'll still be in the Hall of Fame, and it doesn't matter how you got in there. You're still going to be in there before a number of different great names that'll certainly go and be in this Hall of Fame. But I was wondering before that, though, that for those that are listening and watching on Sportswire Radio, certainly fans of Aaron Jones, certainly fans of VTW, and fans of yourself, Mr. Wakefield, could I present to you something that would certainly recognize you being in our Hall of Fame?
I'd be more than willing to see what you got for me, Tom. I
I would
think I
love
know
to
where
share.
this is going.
I would love to share it. But so for those that are listening and watching on Sportswire Radio, there you have it. You have my official John Hancock. You have today's date. You have
That's
our
beautiful.
logo. Yep, we
That
have
is
your
beautiful.
name on there. And congratulations. I hope that this would certainly be something you accept, and we could certainly send to you after we're off the air so you could physically have it. And congratulations.
I absolutely love it. I have two monitors up above. That's why I'm kind of looking up because I can actually see the award. in a much larger screen because I'm currently using my phone. I don't have a webcam, so I'm kind of
Okay.
doing three screens at once. And I see this award, and it's an absolute beauty of an award. And I am so honored to take this award, and I'm probably gonna hang it up on my wall, I think.
I'm glad you said that because some guys have said that. Fletch was telling me off the air that he was going to actually get it, framed. One of my other guys, an analyst, Rob Maraska, did the same thing. He sent me the picture. I think Justin Parsley, though. Justin Parsley was like, "Can I get like money for being in the Hall of Fame?" Or I forget what was the line he said, or like something he wanted. But I think he also hung it up. My guy Luke Leyland, again, Luke Leyland. I cannot say enough about Luke Leyland. Luke Leyland, I think, got his framed. I mean, so yeah, a lot of guys have talked about that, which means a lot to me. But yeah, congratulations.
I
It's
have
a
a
great
whole
award.
room, a room where it's like a wall of like all these posters that I'm on, and I feel like this is gonna be a perfect addition to that wall of
Yeah.
different shows I've been on, different accolades I've had, and I think this is gonna be a perfect space for this certification.
I can't wait for that. And I hear through a birdie, I actually have another poster that you're going to be on coming up here in a
Oh,
few short weeks. Yeah, I'm going to definitely talk about that. But I am going to say hello to a couple of people here. I want to say
okay.
hello to Mr. Big Tex. I'll get to him in a little while. Hello, Tom. But why no hello for Wakefield? He's a Hall of Famer. What's
He
up with that, Big Tex? What's up with?
he's been my number one hater ever since coming to DBW. So I do not expect any less from the big man, Big Tex.
But you know what, though? I was confused last night, not to harp on this too much, because I want to come back, obviously, to a few other things about the Hall of Fame and turn to current events. But, Big Tex was talking to Cyrus yesterday, the it factor, a man you sort of have I guess, a bizarre or interesting relationship with in some ways. Cyrus seemed like he was talking some sense into Big Tex. And tonight, though, I see Big Tex, and he's like back to the Big Tex that I saw prior to yesterday's show. So, I'm trying to figure it out. Was Monday really Big Tex? I don't know, but he certainly says no hello to you, and I think that he should say at least hello to you because
It's almost like he's bipolar or something. I think that's the case. Like he has a case of bipolarism.
you know what? I'm going to say nothing on that. I'm going to say no comment, plead the fifth, and certainly hope that Big Tex, is doing well and figures out what's best for him. But somebody that I think really wants to congratulate you. You may or may not know this person, but she's very proud of you. So that's a good thing. We're very proud of you because I think that you definitely earned this, and I think that this is a Hall of Fame moment that I think will be magnified. And you'll do again greater and greater things ahead in 2024 and beyond. And I have known that will induct you here in a couple of different ways. So I think this is just the beginning. So definitely a big shout out to that person. I'm sure you might know who that is. And speaking of somebody though, but doesn't he says hello, but doesn't specifically say hello to you, which I'm confused upon. But he's here for your moment though, so it's still a good thing for you. And it's the reigning defending
Oh,
BTW world champion and the DBW Hub City champion, your best friend Aaron Jones, but he says hello, fellas. But he doesn't quite say hello, Chase. But
I mean, it's okay. He definitely means the both of us, I think. But it's amazing to see you, Aaron. I'm so glad you're here for this momentous occasion.
I was hoping that we'd get Nikki the Gooch though.
Listen, him and his hairbrush is something else.
I was gonna say, I'm sure that one day, now, if there was a way to do it, maybe I should basically, when I announce everybody, more or less, just come out and do it with a hairbrush. Because I obviously
Oh
comb my hair
yes.
like you do. If I can put a microphone or a USB cable through it, I mean, maybe there's a way to do that. But definitely, Nikki was definitely somebody that I could tell he was from New York. By the way, I could totally tell that he had the New York accent because as somebody like myself, a fellow New Yorker, a fellow somebody from the five boroughs, I could totally tell that he had that vibe. But anything you want to say to Aaron? Obviously, before we get into current events, anything you want to say
Listen,
about Aaron?
I remember I said on the last time I was here that I have a gift from Aaron, and I remember I said that I was gonna open it when the season two premiere kicked off, and obviously that didn't happen. So you must be wondering, where's that gift? Well,
Well,
I got the gift
yeah.
right here, actually. I've been saving it for this occasion. Delivered, hand delivered by Aaron Jones himself. It's an
Oh
Aaron
my
Jones pop
goodness.
figure.
Timeout. I've had some interesting moments on Sportswire. The Tribal Cheese actually brought out his own wrestling figure. I mean, Hybrid, who was the former CCW world champion on air, brought out his own trading card. But you actually, the Bitcoin billionaire Chase Wakefield, may have even topped those two individuals, and those two are very big men, to have a Funko Pop of the one and only Aaron Jones.
It is the one and only Aaron Jones. And the stuff you see in this Funko Pop figure is a microphone. As you know, we all know Aaron Jones loves to yap. But we also have the VTW hoodie in there. I don't know if you could see it because
I see it. Yes, I do. I actually see it.
But now that I have this, I can play with Aaron Jones whenever I want.
Now, does it come with country karaoke like Aaron likes to sing?
I'm not sure. I don't want to open this because I don't want to smidge the Jones.
It's a big memento. Listen, it's a big memento. You don't want to open that.
Yes. So he's now on top of my PC for the whole lifetime that I'm here. Forever watching me.
You know what? And just when I thought, we were going to see you maybe get a chance to open it, but then some guy that's named Asher and last name Christ and can't figure out what name he is, what he has to attire he comes out to. He's almost like Madonna. You can't figure out what personality. You talked about, bipolar disorder, split personalities. Maybe that person might have been that, but I'm going to certainly, as he might, one of his other alter egos might say, shut your mouth, or you shut your mouth. We'll leave that at that. But you know what? That has definitely topped all the things I've seen on Sportswire today. And that certainly tops the fact, even Obey coming out with a gun on Sportswire before Christmas. And that was one for the ages. The Tribal Cheese with his own figure. I mean, I've seen attacks on Sportswire, but there's nothing like an Aaron Jones, your best friend's Funko Pop. Maybe there was something special about this day. Maybe that he knew that you were going to get inducted into the Hall of Fame today. Instead of having it on the season premiere, he wanted to wait an extra 48 hours or really 50 hours to kind of have us see that Funko Pop of the reigning defending VTW World Heavyweight Champion.
Yeah, he told me straight up, he said, I want this to be your moment, Chase, and I want you to showcase it whenever you're ready. And now's the best time to do it, I would say.
Now, can I bring up Mr. Jones's other comment? Can I bring up?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, fair enough. Because I happen to say that I'm a big fan of Aaron Jones too, though. But I would never take the claim from you. I would never steal your best friend from you. Never.
Oh,
I could never do that because you know what? That would be so disrespectful. It'd be rude to you. I don't want to have what the fate that the Blue Cyclone would meet on Sunday's show. I don't want to meet that fate. So I certainly don't want to do that. But Mr. Jones has a couple things to say.
Okay.
Yes, I'm here for you. And by the way, I don't know what that name is. I'm going to certainly pretend I never heard that last name. I don't know nothing about that. I don't know where he got that from. Maybe that's another company with 3 other initials. But you couldn't even listen to my interview with my true friend, Tom Bryce. I'm not going to fight that because I know he's your best friend. So I'm not, listen, don't you worry. I'm not going to certainly compete with you on that. I respect you too much. I know you're a billionaire. I know certainly you're the guy that, everybody wants to see here tonight. So I promise you that, I'm going to certainly, never get in the way of your true friendship with Aaron Jones.
Listen, I have a defense for that comment of not seeing his interview. I was going to watch it, but then there's a TV show called Nanaland, and I was watching Nanaland, and it just made me a little too sleepy, and
if it makes you feel better, I've done in the past, I think it's 80 days, 81 days. I've done over 100 shows. So at this point, you probably, he's on Sportswire again. In fact, I'll even kind of break the fourth wall, but it'll be funny. You'll laugh even. I had 2 people call me to kind of important people in the world. And they were like, I can never get a hold of you anymore. Why can't I speak to you? I'm so mad at you. And you know what I said? Well, you can get in touch with me. Just go to my YouTube channel at Sportswire Radio 6579. And they're like, huh? I'm like, I've been on Sportswire so many times at this point that not even anybody in the real world or anybody else can get a hold of me. So I understand your pain because you're probably, Tom's on Sportswire again. Yeah, I seen that. That's a rerun almost. It's almost like seeing Seinfeld or Cheers or ER or The Simpsons. It's yeah, I've seen that already. Tom's on Sportswire. What else is new? In fact, even Jack Delta said a couple of weeks ago, you've been on Sportswire so many many times, if you ever want to take a break, I'm here from you, and I'll talk to you. I'm like, all right, so that shows you that. So I don't blame you. Listen, I'm gonna give you a pass on that, Chase Biggs, because I understand all you've done is seen Tom on Sportswire, so I don't blame you.
I appreciate it, Tom. I appreciate it so much.
Let me come back. I got a lot of comments here, and I really didn't want to say this moment, but Aaron Jones got a couple things to say about you. He says, I don't know how we got that Funko Pop, but
he gave it to me. He gave it to me.
All right. Well, he has another comment for you, if you don't mind. And I hope Mr. Jones would come back at some point this year. Chase is a billionaire, but I'm the one who wore a $1,000 suit at season 2 premiere, and he wore a ratty T-shirt. I'm going to actually defend you on this one. I'm going to tell you why I'm going to defend you on this one, because as someone who's, again, worth a certain number of figures, if I say the number of figures, every company on Sportswire that comes on will want me to buy their company. So maybe message me and I'll think about it. But I myself, a man that, again, is worth a certain number of zeros, all I do is wear wrestling T-shirts. I'm going to cut you slack. I'm going to give you a big pass because I don't wear anything expensive. And I could simply go out and buy a $1,000 suit right now, and I don't do it. So listen, don't feel too bad on that. That's okay. I'm going to give you a pass on that one.
I know I may have not worn the fancy suit like everyone else has, but what I did was showcase the love and support I had for Aaron Jones, because I let everyone know that I love Aaron and he's my best friend.
And you know what? You were there with him side by side to start the show. You came out at the end of the show. You got the victory over Blue Cyclone, and you certainly got the job done. So at the end of the day, I mean, you were there, and that's what counts. They always say in life, you were there. And that's what matters most. And so I'm gonna hold that away from you toward that. I don't know who you are, but thank you for tuning in on Twitch, because I'm on Twitch, and I think we're gonna move on from you because I don't know you, and I think clearly you're trying to pull a fast one on me. So thank you very much. I will say hello to Cyrus because he actually gives you certainly a respect from one Brotherhood member to another. Congrats. Okay, that was a nice sign. Yeah, obviously a little bit of a contentious recent history with that global championship, but obviously there is still some respect, and Cyrus was inducted yesterday, but you're certainly still inducted by a higher number of people that'll get, and you're still ahead of them far more, so still a good number. This individual, who I think you probably know, his name's Brandon Castelli. He's certainly, I don't know, speaking of bipolar, right? I mean, how many times did I see him on Sunday's show in different personalities?
It's kind of crazy because whenever I saw the Blue Cyclone and Sneaky Pete together, I kind of saw Sneaky Pete kind of looks like someone, and I don't know who it could be.
I don't know.
And it kind of looks like Brandon, but it's not. I don't think it's
Brandon. I don't think
honestly.
that was Brandon. I mean, I know that Mauler and Rock Hard, yeah, that's like the split personalities of Castelli.
I mean, if he sounded like Brandon, I would totally get it, but that's a whole different person I'm hearing.
I don't know. Maybe it was Scorpion the Assassin, and Scorpion the Assassin returned to the ring.
Yeah, I mean, it could be literally anyone, I think. But the comment that Brandon Castelli has given me here, I feel like it's a little bit of salt that is being thrown towards me because of what happened in season 1, where he came and answered my YouTube Championship Open Challenge, and he just got a kiss from me and he lost.
That's been kind of a theme for Brandon lately, though, in multiple promotions.
Loser.
Have you not noticed that?
Yeah, he's been a loser the whole time. So, I mean, I can get his animosity. I can totally understand it.
It's tough when you're on the short end of the stick as much as he's been on now.
Mm-hmm. I feel like what Brandon has done in DBW and VTW is nothing but a coward. He's a coward, I think, and I think he needs to change his ways before ever coming back into the ring with me.
Okay. Well, I'm going to certainly come back to that. But he does want to say, though, in all seriousness, congratulations. Okay.
Listen, I love Brandon. I just had to push his buttons a little bit because that's what we all do. We just push each other's buttons.
That's what it's all about, for sure. No question about that. Okay. Also, let's come back to some more comments. We're doing great. Ethan, we actually just inducted here into our Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame. He is officially our 27th member. His name is the Bitcoin billionaire, Chase Wakefield. And if you'd like to support him, there's a number of different ways you can do so. And I have it right here in front of me on the screen. Clearly, I can't see. You have it here very simply. If you want to follow DBW, you can also do that right there. And if you want to check us out, we're on Sportswire Radio on YouTube at 6579 backspace streams. We're also on YouTube and also Tumblr at Sportswire Radio. We're also on Twitch now at Sportswire Radio, and 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. You can check us out anytime on sportswireradio.org. If you have a podcast out there, if you have anything else you want to play, let me know, and I'll let you have the opportunity to be heard around the world. But that's what we're here about, Ethan, and thank you for coming back in here for double duty. But, Brandon has something else to say, and I would think this is a special moment today, and he calls you a coward, though, but I thought we were
Oh
inducting you into
my
the Hall of Fame.
goodness.
What's going on here?
I listen. I'm one of the most hated people, I think, in DBW at least, and I feel like all this hate, people call me cowards, is unacceptable, I think. And when DBW comes back for this year, their new season, I think I'm gonna really make a change in DBW.
Wait. Time out. I
I'm gonna
really want
do
to get
it.
to the Hall of Fame here, but
Yes.
you are telling me that you're going to make a change. But now, correct me if I'm wrong, though. You won the second most matches in DBW this past season. Why would you want to make a change when technically you were one of the most successful? It wasn't Cyrus actually who won the most matches after Judgment. It was you. So why would you, the Bitcoin billionaire, Chase Wakefield, who's now also a Hall of Famer in the resume, that's, not too bad, by the way, would want to change your ways? I don't understand that. Help me figure this out.
You know, I've been thinking about this a lot when it comes to how I approach myself in the ring, especially that match with RJ Carnage. It really opened my eyes and really showed.
But you couldn't be
Um,
prepared for that. He wasn't working for the company at that moment. You didn't know.
sure, you can make a case for that, but at the same time, I have to be ready for anything, no matter what challenge it is, no matter who steps in the ring. I need to be ready, and all this gloating and cockiness, I think it's really hindering me and really pushing me back to where I belong and the potential I can have in professional wrestling.
That's interesting. I mean, I definitely didn't expect that from you. But, I mean, you still, at the end of the day, were successful. And as far as I know in the record books, your
I mean,
record was,
I was successful. I was successful, but not successful enough. I had multiple losses,
you
and I
did.
need to change that from multiple to maybe none at all,
But
or
you know
maybe
what though,
one.
but you know what though, real quick, there's been guy after guy that's come on here and said, well, I should have this championship shot, and I should have that championship shot, and yet you were the one that won many more matches than them, and they're not wanting to change anything. They're saying, well, yeah, I could beat Cyrus, yeah, I could win this championship, but yet you're the guy that won the majority of the matches you were in the ring with, and you're saying it wasn't good enough. Is it because, Aaron certainly has certain standards? Aaron is certainly somebody that also, oh, by the way, is the DBW Hub City champion, and also he's our VTW world champion. Oh, by the way, also forgot to mention this. I'm sure you heard that Aaron was in the ring, your best friend, with some guy I've heard of named the Barbarian. Not too bad, right?
I mean, you could say it's based on expectations on my best friend Aaron Jones, but more or less it's on expectations towards myself. And I feel like this year is a make or break year for me. I I think I need to be at my game
Well, you
100% of the
spoke
time.
last month on the show. You spoke about the fact you did want to travel more. You wanted to go more places. You certainly, but also wanted to do things that you want to do. You wanted to make sure you were doing the things that you felt were what would maybe do the best for what your career is going to be going forward. So I think that was something you talked a little bit about on the
Yes.
show last month.
Yes, that vision is still bright as the sun. Um, there's multiple places I would love to go. As you all know, I talked about EBW in San Antonio, Texas at the
Yes.
last time. I also want to make a trip to XCW. IMF,
We had Festus. Festus was on
ROEW.
here. Yeah, Festus was on here just before you, and we're inducting Festus into the Hall of Fame. And we brought your
Mm-hmm.
name up. By the way, your name came up, and guys knew
Oh,
you. Guys knew. No,
oh,
the locker room knows you. No, listen, I think
okay.
XCW would be a great landing spot for you. I think there's a lot of guys I'd love to see you in the ring with. Jackson Laws certainly, and
Mm-hmm.
also in our Hall of Fame. You got ACT's the champion, Corey Lee, you and Corey Lee, Hunter Halkin. I mean, Justin Parsley, my buddy Justin Parsley, of course. I mean, a lot of guys certainly, in XCW that, I think we said this last time on the show. So yeah, I would love to see you go down there.
I would love to go, and I would even love to skip the pond and go over to CCW and
Well,
watch them over there as well.
Mr. Barris has said that he certainly knows who you are. He certainly follows the shows on Sportswire, and he would like to, because I always come prepared for things. He wants me to tell you that he congratulates you in being in the Hall of Fame. He's certainly very happy that you're following the company, and also to Brandon. Brandon also follows a lot on the CCW, of course, Colory Championship Wrestling. It's Colory Championship Wrestling on Sportswire Radio this month. And also, he wants to tell you, if the stars can align, if there's a way that he can book you, and it can work out certainly between all the parties. Of course, he would want you in CCW. That's what his message is, to you. So
That would be phenomenal. As what he said, as the stars align, it could happen, and
that's what he said. Yep.
I could relay him a message sometime in the future and get my passport ready.
His Facebook is always open, and if you actually want to message him, his name is James Barris, BARRASS. So if you want to see yourself in CCW, if the stars align, like I said, absolutely go for it, and tell him I sent you. Tell him I sent you. So
Okay,
wait,
perfect.
yep, definitely. But also one more promoter that I want to bring up, and I want to get to comments in a second, which actually ties into the Hall of Fame. If you are traveling to Texas, if you ever want to travel to California, I'm very good friends with a promoter named Darrow Johnson for the Wrestling War Zone. So I'm gonna do you another solid. I'm gonna make sure that he gets your info, because Darrow Johnson, I've actually booked him a couple of guys. And I think you'd be another great place for you. Wrestling War Zone, California, Southern California out there, SoCal, and
Oh
they've got a lot
yeah,
of great guys. You fit in there. Maybe some other guys listening. Darrow Johnson, I promise you that would be. Keep an eye on that name, and I'll talk to you more about that off the air.
perfect.
He
Okay.
says it's just poultry.
Oh man, we don't. I don't want to get into any of that. That is something that should not be on
Well,
the
you know what?
air.
What's going on tonight with Sportswire? Because in Festus's spot, bean soup came up. Tonight,
Bean
poultry's
soup.
coming up. I'm like, what? What is going on? Like, do people want me to feed that? I mean, listen, I understand we're putting in the whole thing. Are like people asking me for like a gift card to like their favorite restaurant? Like, I'm not getting it here. I mean, we spoke about.
We're just hungry. That's what it is.
Well, I mean, look, I will try. I guess maybe that is the sign that maybe I should buy these promotions or get into a promotion. Because somebody actually asked me that the other day. I'm like, well, we'll see. I don't know, but I will get to some more comments. I want to say hello back to Big Tex. Break the fourth wall. Congratulations, you deserve it, and you're a fun guy to hang out with at the shows. I should ask you this: are you a part of the Yu-Gi-Oh card group?
Oh, you know about the Yu-Gi-Oh card group? Oh
Yeah, it's been
man.
mentioned on a few
Oh
shows on Sportswire. Yeah, in fact, even
yes,
Cyrus made a joke of it yesterday. Yes, I know about the Yu-Gi-Oh group. Yeah.
yes. I am a part of that, and I actually play. It's called YGO Omega, and
Okay.
it's like the online version of Yu-Gi-Oh, and I run a deck called Suships.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
sushi. It's like a if battleships with sushi, essentially.
So I gotta take it then. You're gonna really be excited for the season to start again, because there's probably
Yeah.
guys in person that you haven't played yet, or what we used to
Oh
say,
yeah.
challenge to a duel.
Exactly. And I still have over here a deck of cards waiting. So I'm ready.
Mm.
I'm ready.
Well, I saw on Instagram Jackson Saber, I think, was actually like out somewhere and he was playing Yu-Gi-Oh. I'm like, oh
Oh
boy,
wow.
I'm pretty sure it was on his Instagram page, and it was like, why did that pop up on my timeline? But yeah, I had a feeling that had to come up, but because Ethan is a supporter of ours, I'm gonna let him ask, because he actually does tie to the Hall
Okay.
of Fame. if you had a favorite moment or match in your career, I know I've asked this to you,
Ooh.
but Ethan's become a new listener, and I always like to give new people a chance to ask a question. And what's your favorite match so far in your career?
Oh man, it's been more difficult now that I've been having more and more matches, especially with last year having like over 30 different
We spoke about
matches.
that, yeah.
Yeah.
In
Um,
DBW alone, I think you wrestled the most matches. You had 13, was it 13 matches? I
yeah,
think it
like
was
13
13.
matches on that.
13.
And if I had to choose at this current moment, because with me it fluctuates a lot. Um, it really depends on my mood. But if you haven't, and I really suggest it, it's the
Wow.
most recent match I had with the Blue Cyclone. I think that was one of the more fun matches I had, not only in my career, but not only last year, but in my career, essentially. Even though it did not have too much substantial behind it, it was just a comedic match in a sense. But I think what we did in that time period was the best you can do for a comedy match in all reality. And I think it really sets what Chase Wakefield has in store for this year and the future.
Let me ask you a question on that in a different way. Tell me your thoughts. And I feel like that you're getting to explore a side of you that people probably knew, that they've known you in these locker rooms for a while, but now it feels like on a bigger stage, which we're going to transition to next into VTW. I feel like that on a bigger stage, you're getting to explore or do things that maybe you haven't got a chance to do in your career these last few months. Do you feel the same way on that? I don't think I've asked you that before.
Yeah, you it definitely agree with given a chance to really flesh myself out and explore different avenues. Um, and all this really came from a bit of improvisation from Aaron Jones because I forget what show it was, but it was the show that I wrestled Zach Daniels on. Aaron Jones came out and he cut a promo saying that I want to introduce my newest best friend, and I didn't know he was going to say that at all. So I was in the back and I heard that, and when I heard that, something in me clicked. Like I could really make this an opportunity and really go 200% on this. And now, where we're at today with with me being Aaron Jones' best friend and how that's going, I think that improvisation was probably the best thing for my career. And I think what I'm doing now is my favorite line of work that I've done
I
in
gotta be.
professional wrestling.
If we're being honest, when I watched the show, because guys asked me, I don't want to say who, but it was guys that were asking me, "Did you watch the BTW show?" And I didn't get a
Hmm.
chance at that exact moment to watch it, but I watched it later in the evening
Hmm.
and yesterday. So I went back and watched the shows, and I have to totally be honest. I don't think I belted out a laugh as hard as I did your segments in watching wrestling in a long time. And I got to be honest, like, I think that what you guys are doing is better than a lot of pro wrestling I see on TV right now. I mean, I really, when kind of transitioning into VTW, I really can't stress enough right now how good this product is. And I think that as the host of the Sports Report, the owner of Sportswire Radio, the Reverend Tom Bryce, where all wrestling matters, that this is the perfect setting now for VTW. You guys need to be in an inside building that looks like an old school TV studio that fits exactly what VTW has to offer. This was like literally, if I could imagine conceptually a wrestling show, this might have been the show. I don't think there was one single flaw on this entire show. Sometimes I watch shows and there's a lot of companies out there I watch, and I don't want to say names in different places, but you see a moment or two, you go, oh, okay, there was a moment there. There was something I was like, let me skip over that. That show that I saw Sunday night, I would watch that over, frankly, some episodes of Monday Night Raw.
Oh, I always say this to a lot of the guys in the locker room. Last year we had a show to start out called New Horizons,
Yep.
and that was the start of the new era for VTW. We had the Reunion Rumble as kind of a test phase of what VTW would have been like if we would have brought it back. But New Horizons was the first show that we fully brought back VTW and really made this versus the world wrestling. And as you saw from the progression from New Horizon to Christmas Chaos, you saw how much progression we had. But
Yep.
now we're on to the new season,
Oh
the
my
New
God.
Horizon. We're already starting off better than we ever had. So imagine from now to what Christmas Chaos will be like this year, and imagine what the progress we're gonna have. It's endless.
I feel
And
like that this is like on the and we say this is cliche a lot on Sportswear, and we say, this place, it's so great. It's, and yes, and obviously we love all wrestling on Sportswear. Let me again, that's our hashtag. But this, I feel like, what I feel like in this, and I'm gonna tell me your thoughts on this. I feel like what I'm watching is like if you're watching a band and you're seeing them play and you're seeing them play somewhere, and you kind of say, you know what, in like 6 months from now, that band is gonna go out and either have a record deal or they're gonna be somewhere big. And I feel like
mhm,
with VTW in like 6 months, 9 months, the way the product is going, I think it's probably going to have, no joke, 7,000, 8,000 YouTube subscribers or more, because I feel like I watch this product. It's like it's going to blow a lot of pro wrestling companies out of the water. The way it was so written, so well done. The wrestlers that you had on the show, like I said, there wasn't a flaw. There was, again, you watch shows at this level, and again, I don't want to say names or different things like that because I'm trying to be very kind on this case here. You can certainly see, okay, yep, I want to skip that. Don't talk about it. This
mhm.
had nothing like this was
I
like a perfect game almost you
I
threw.
can I can definitely agree from the beginning with me, Chooch, and Aaron Jones with
Yeah.
Ashley Price coming out. That segment was
Oh my God,
amazing. Then
that
you
was
had
amazing.
then you had me versus the Blue Cyclone. That
Yep.
was great. Then you had the Top Guns coming out to the extremely great Goobas.
And
That was
how about the
phenomenal.
Blaze Ace Christians match? Oh my
The
God, what a
Ace
match that
Christian
was.
versus Ecstatic. Then you
Yep.
had whatever that one old style vintage movie thing. I don't know what to call it, like found footage. I don't know what that is, but you had that as well, and it's just every
What did you
time
make of
we
that though? By the way, what did you make of that with that footage?
that footage stuff.
Yeah, what did you make of that?
Honestly,
You know anything about it?
a lot of that is past my time from what I've seen. I don't know.
Maybe that would be Mr. Crisis or certainly Scorpion the Assassin's time, or they probably would have known. They were probably
Yeah,
like,
like
teenagers during then.
and it's like they were asking like is this a door like I'm not sure what to make of it, honestly. I'm still very curious, and I'm shocked that the VTW management hasn't actually noticed any of this or
Well,
like
Aaron
done
can't do anything
anything.
about it. Aaron can't. So this
Yeah,
is Aaron's
so
fault.
but nevertheless, I always say we keep topping ourselves at every single time we film
I
this
was
together.
with you. I think I was with you just after Christmas Chaos, right? And then
Hmm.
like we were like, oh my God, that. And what I watched just now a couple days ago was like, you guys have a show coming up reunion. You're gonna have obviously all these big matches in the Rumble, and I'm like, I don't know how you guys top that.
Listen, all I could say is
No
just
comment.
stay tuned for
Yeah.
VTW because it's only going to get better. If you think it's good now, just wait until
What did
a
I
few
listen?
months down the
What,
road.
what did I just say? Listen, I said it again. We are at over 4,000 plus subscribers. In my opinion, I think that this company in 6 months from now might have 7,000, 8,000, because I
Yeah,
think that the
I agree.
word travels. I think it's like 500 subscribers alone in the last few months. I mean, it's like the word is traveling, and I think that this is the product's like it's like too good. It's like I'll be honest,
Hmm.
like it's like, and you were on this show figuratively and literally more than anybody else. Now I am going to talk about it because now you got my palate wet and I'm fired up. That where you, my friend, you were on that show more than anybody else. I know it's supposed to be your best friend's show. I know it's supposed to be the whole talk about the championship and Ecstatic and Ace Christian, the Blaze had a great match, no question about it. I'm gonna get to Castelli again for a few reasons why. In a couple of minutes, because something else I want to talk about to your show you're gonna be on, but you stole that show.
It's really tough to fathom when someone says I steal a show or I was the best thing on that show because you have a lot of talent on that
Oh
show
my
who,
God! Listen, Navon
like, you have
McDonald. I mean, I didn't
Navon
realize
McDonald.
Is it me or did Navon McDonald get taller?
Yeah, listen, he gets taller every time I see him. The same thing comes as Chase Bridges. He once I saw Chase Bridges again, he was a giant. He is a massive
I
human.
swear, I feel like he got. Did I not get taller from the last time I saw him on a DBW screen? No, I'm serious. I feel like did he not get taller?
It's the VTW camera adds about 5 inches to anyone's vertical. He
Well,
could
that
he could
shows.
go play for the Pacers right now because they need it.
Well, yeah, we got some XCW fans in the locker room that are, Pacers
Oh
guys. I,
yeah,
I don't want to
yeah.
get into that. I certainly don't want.
I'm a Celtics guy, so
Well, we're in New York, and the Knicks. I sort
mm,
of lean toward the Nets. But the Nets are what they are. The Knicks are good for a change, but yeah, I'm certainly not going to talk the NBA. We'll certainly leave that at that. But again, you're on this show in 4 different segments, and
yeah.
you're on all important segments. And let's talk about now the YouTube Championship, quote unquote. Now, it seemed to me that you were going to be awarded and crowned, I suppose, this YouTube champion, but now it seems like you're going to have a match to determine this YouTube championship. And do you want to talk about that? Because
I think it's
especially,
unbelievable.
yeah, let's talk
I
about it.
can't believe that the VTW management still don't acclimate me as the YouTube champion. They put graphics up with Asher Christ as the champion, but we all know I've defended the championship before. I've beaten Brent Excelli for it. I even could have put up my YouTube championship against the Blue Cyclone, and I would have beat him for it. And they still don't call me the YouTube champion. But listen, at Reunion, the Armafetta match, me, Asher Christ,
When
and
you
Nikki
said
Chooch.
that, I almost fell out of my chair.
Me, Nikki Chooch, and Asher Christ, most finishers win 15 minutes. And you all know that double B guaranteed, I'm not going to go down without a fight, and I'm going to be still the YouTube champion. And I guess I'm going to win the YouTube championship, even though I've had the YouTube championship for
No,
however long
don't
it's been.
don't tell. As I always say in these spots, don't tell me the strategy, but my helpful advice, you can take it for whatever it's worth. I would just say try to avoid being in the outside of the ring, especially with the size of Judgment. Whatever you do, limit the amount of contact that you've had with him throughout that match, and maybe you can kind of figure out how to get the amount of moves you need to win that match. That would be, again, what does it mean? My advice? I have no idea. I don't know what's going to go on through people's minds in that match, let alone yours. But my advice would be to limit yourself to Judgment as much as possible.
Listen, I might even talk to Chooch myself because me and Chooch, we're in tandem now. So it could almost be like a 2-on-1 handicap match at this point.
That's true. Well, and you could certainly figure out that maybe you guys could do a sign of the cross there when it comes to certainly Mr. Christ, aka whatever you want to call him, and what I just said, and maybe you can kind of figure out, well, you know what, if we 2-on-1 him, we can then decide. Maybe you guys want to split the YouTube championship in that case. Would you be all right with that? I said, now you got a whole full possession of it.
Listen, we may be partners, but at the end of the day, I'm going to still be the YouTube champion, and nothing's going to
Maybe you
stop
could
me.
buy Nikki a new comb so he could use for his microphone. Maybe that could be part of
Maybe,
the deal.
maybe
Buy
that
Nikki,
Walmart
buy him a
hairbrush.
comb. Buy him something extra with that. Maybe it's a wireless comb or something like that, and maybe even one of those like little combs he could put in his pocket and go like this with it. So he can carry around with him at all times. Maybe that's what you offer him was part of the deal. Help you. And you'll help him by, buying him some new combs. And maybe that'll be where you can keep full possession of the YouTube championship. Almost like the playoffs in football, sole possession. Now with this match, you could now have sole possession of the YouTube championship. And Nikki's got an opportunity where if you help him, you can use what you have at your disposal and what your worth is, and certainly give him all the combs he can desire.
Exactly. I think at the end of the day, when Reunion happens and when that Armafetta match ends, I think you're still going to see me holding that YouTube championship, and that's double B guaranteed.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, he said it's going to be double B guaranteed. Mr. Christ, whatever you may call yourself, I have no doubt that, you might want to certainly be saying your final prayers. You might want to be saying your final goodbyes to that YouTube championship that you quote unquote hold, because we are going to see the real YouTube championship officially be in the hands of the Bitcoin billionaire, Chase Wakefield. He is our 27th member of our Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, your voice of all wrestling. If you want to follow VTW, please YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, VTW Wrestling, and especially on YouTube, where you can watch the season premiere. And guess what? The season premiere already, get this, ladies and gentlemen, in just a little over 48 hours' time, over 1,000 views. Let me repeat, over 1,000 views. So go out, watch the show. And you know what? If you go out and watch it like I did, watch it 2, watch it 3, watch it 4, watch it 5 times. Just keep watching it so many times and watch it so many times, because Chase Wakefield, you can count and also figure out how many minutes he's actually on the show, because he's on it so much. They should just name it the Chase Wakefield Show instead of versus the World Wrestling. That's what they should just do. Just saying, just saying.
Yeah. Also, I would like to add as well. VTW now has a TikTok as well
Oh,
at
is that a
VTW
VTW
Wrestling as
Wrestling?
well.
Oh,
Yeah, I
well,
believe
add that
so.
in. Everybody's telling me to get on TikTok. My mother's told me, people are watching. You got to
Yeah.
get, you've had Jimmy controversy on. Now it's time to get on TikTok. I'm working on it. I just opened up a Twitch. So I promise you at some point I'll get onto TikTok. But now, if you're on TikTok, go out and support VTW. That's another way to support the company. And if you want to support DBW as well, got to make sure you give everybody a shout out for DBW, Dominating Breakout Wrestling on YouTube, Twitter, DBW Wrestling. If you want to buy some merchandise, because I have DBW merchandise, and you want to support the cause, bonfire.com backspace store backspace dominant minus breakout minus wrestling backspace. So that's Dominant Breakout Wrestling, all their platforms. Facebook is now Dominant Breakout Wrestling. I have to change the name, I know. Definitely, I will do that. YouTube, Dominating Breakout Wrestling. Also, check them out again one more time. Twitter, DBW Wrestling, and bonfire.com to go to the DBW store and buy some merchandise. This is the way we support our companies. The way we support our companies is to buy merchandise, support those that support us, and put out that great content. DBW is right there. VTW, since they're currently in the state of where they are, you want to definitely support them as well. They have a big show coming up, Reunion, but they also right now currently just the season premiere just aired, and just go out and watch it. I have to ask you one or two more things on VTW before I move on to something else I
Okay.
want to plug for a really good cause. You guys, I mean, it had to add something being in what felt like a pro wrestling building. It felt like you were in a TV studio. Without saying too much, you got to talk about that.
Man, that building itself, I can say it's located in Hickory,
Oh,
and
I know Hickory.
this building is actually really special because we had the Hardy Boys wrestle in the same building.
I've heard of them. I heard of them.
There's a big convention room just across the room from where you are, and that's where they had like the big mega show where it had the Hardy Boys, AEW's The Acclaimed were on the same room. I believe it was where they actually scissored George South, pro wrestling
Oh,
legend
wow.
George South.
Yeah,
Uh,
I heard that. Yeah, we spoke about it.
they scissored him, same building and all. And once I stepped in that building and realized who was in that building before me, it kind of gave me goosebumps. It made me realize I'm actually really making it in wrestling, where I wrestled in places where I've watched people from my childhood wrestle.
Do you feel and I know you can't speak for the locker room in VTW, but does it motivate you and feel like, you know what? I'm wrestling now in a building where the big guys are. And you know what?
Mhm.
Now I feel like that I'm here, and not that you didn't belong before, but now you feel like you belong with the big guys, the big leagues. Does that motivate you at all, knowing that you guys are now indoors and you're in this environment where, again, the who's who are here? You want to talk about that?
Exactly. Yeah, I think it definitely motivates everyone because we all view this as something that we all love doing. BTW has always been something all of us have loved doing since, God, like 2016, 2017.
I saw the old Aaron videos. Yeah, it's been
Yeah,
that long. I saw them. Yeah, that's
it's
right.
been so long from the days of a trampoline to now wrestling inside a venue where all of our childhood heroes have wrestled at. And it really is a big step for not only us, but the product itself. And I think it motivates us to continue upping our talents as well as the actual show itself. And everything we do is just an improvement of what we did previously.
I think Aaron spoke a little bit about this, and not to go into too many details with it, but we spoke a little bit about the product itself. And I watch it. Tell me your thoughts on this. I almost feel like that the VTW product, it's like the best of the best that wrestle there. There's some companies, and we love everybody on Sportswire, and I want to put this, very lovingly, and even our pro wrestling companies that come on overseas, right? And there is people there that you might want to say are filler, right? But with
Mhm.
VTW, it's almost to kind of quote some 41. By the way, their last year of touring is this year, if I'm not mistaken. And it's almost like it's all killer, no filler on the roster. What I mean is that like everybody that's on the roster, there's like everybody's a top guy almost in a way of their abilities, who they are. And I really feel like, to me, VTW, it's like the best of the best. Do you feel that way as well?
I can definitely agree with that. It definitely helps with the fact that all of us have had our fair share of experiences in other places as well. And I think with the talent that we have, I don't think none of us are indifferent from each other. I think each and one of us have the opportunity to shine and make the show a part of them and make the show better in a sense. I feel like it just motivates everyone um, if everyone views themselves as equal and they have to prove themselves who's the better man.
I thought the same thing in watching, especially the last couple of shows. It almost was like, to me, it's like I'm watching the All-Star game in our level.
Hmm.
It's almost like if there was an NBA, like the NBA All-Star games coming up in a few weeks, and the NHL All-Star games this week, in the Pro Bowl. And I feel like in our, like, I don't know what you want to call it at this point. I mean, Festus referred to us as the backyard. I say it's underground. Fletch calls it semi-pro. Some guys call it the in-between. I don't even know. I call it all wrestling. But I feel like in this particular company, this product, I feel like I'm watching the All-Star game. You feel that way at this level?
I could definitely agree. There's a reason why we are called versus the world. It's because through all of our adversities and challenges we've had, we've always sticked out and been the best of the best for a reason. And it always feels like everyone is against us. And that's why we're versus the world wrestling. And we prove why everyone has that feeling towards us because we're we're not bad in no sense. We have no flaws. Maybe the only flaw you see is just the lighting of the ceiling, and that's it.
I don't think it was no. Honestly, the lighting. It was like, to me, like I said, I think Cyrus and I was speaking about this on and off the air, and it was like, yeah, I felt like I was watching like an NWA show. There was no flaws. I listen. I will tell you, I watch a lot of wrestling, right? Because I watch pretty much everything. All I do in my life at this point is to watch wrestling. So like, I can tell you, like, when I see a show. And you can point little things out. With somebody, they obviously couldn't do this. They didn't sell a move, or there was whatever it was. There was none of this. There was legitimately none of this. So that's why I want people to watch VTW, to follow the product, and also on TikTok as well. But in the remaining time that I have, there is something I'd like to promote, and it's for an important cause. And you're actually reuniting with somebody that I think that a lot of people will be kind of surprised that you're reuniting with him based on sort of certain histories back in DBW. But if I could, I'd actually like to put the poster up for it, because we've been so kind to have been granted the poster by, well, the man that actually owns this company, Mr. V to the H Van Hansen. It's going to be,
I
yep.
didn't know that.
Yeah, well, I didn't know it either until he just dropped a bomb and said, well, you know what? I have something to say. And I'm like, okay, what did I say on Sportswire about you now, V to the H? And he said, well, no, nothing. I just happen to own Amplified Wrestling. I'm like, okay, well, but that's actually not the reason why I want to pull this poster up. As I'm actually supporting this event. I'm actually sponsoring the event. I'm actually going to personally donate when the time comes for me to actually get that link. But until then, you're going to be in the ring for a fight for a cure. It's Enterprise and Amplified Wrestling. And I want to bring this match up because I'm really fascinated about your thoughts on it and how we can sell it and talk about it for those that are listening and watching on Sportswire Radio. Voila. There we go. It's
Yes.
Violent Love and the Dawn's March. It seems like a familiar face that you're with in the ring and for a good cause. And I was wondering what you thought about this and what is anything else on your mind about February the 24th coming up here?
I would love to talk more about this. The Dawn's March completely turned a new leaf. Chase Wakefield, Silas Walker, his brand new name, no longer Graves, Silas Walker, the Renegade. We both turned new leaves, we both talked it out, and we both said, why not bring back the Dawn's March? Why not bring back the opportunity to catch more bounties? And as you can see, the first bounty is for the Amplified Tag Team Championships against Violent Love. Now, this message is towards Violent Love, and Violent Love, this isn't going to be no love story when the Dawn's March steps into the ring for their debut and beat you two for the Amplified Tag Team Championships. So, Violent Love, I hope you two pack a lunch because we're going to take you two to work. And I hope I see you in McConnellsburg, Pennsylvania, at the McConnellsburg High School gym for Fight for a Cure because we're going to be the next Amplified Tag Team Champions and we're going to cement our names on the day one.
What would that mean in a way to reunite with a familiar face and now add tag team gold in quote unquote addition to singles gold? I mean, I would have to say
Now,
in a pretty big event like this, talk to me.
Now, if you don't know who the Dawn's March was back in the day when the Dawn's March was in DBW, we
Yep.
were the only faction in DBW history to hold every single singles championship in DBW. We had the World Championship, we had the Global, we
The
had
World Extreme,
the World Extreme,
Hub
we had the
City.
number one contender championship. The Hub City wasn't around back then,
Right. The
but
form of it, yep.
we had all of the gold, and we were the only faction to do that. The New Brotherhood couldn't do it. Ego couldn't do it. None of them could do it, except for us. But the only thing we could not have done was win the tag team championships, and that's what we want to change for this new version of the Dawn's March, a new and improved version of the Dawn's March. We're coming for tag team gold, and there's nothing that no one can do, not even Violent Love can do, to stop us from winning.
Now they're an impressive tag team. They've held these championships, and it's an impressive company. And they're going to certainly fight like tooth and nail and fight like hell, and especially for a cause like this to keep their gold. Does that concern you at all? Anyway, I know you're the Bitcoin billionaire, Aaron Jones' best friend, but they are the champions, and until proven otherwise, they're going to certainly do everything they can to keep those championships.
I do agree, I do have to agree they are impressive. I did watch the championship win against the Panorama Express, Dolkin, and V to the H Van Hansen.
And obviously, we know they were the longest reigning tag team champions in Amplified history.
Yes, and Dolkin is a certified Hall of Famer for
Yep.
Amplified.
Yep.
But at the end of the day, they haven't met a team like us. They haven't seen what we could do. There's barely any footage out there right now on YouTube other than DBW that the Dawn's March was in. So we're coming out there like a book of questions in a sense. Once you open us up, you will see the answers, and the answer may be us putting your butts down on that mat for the 1, 2, 3.
Well, we're very excited about that. And of course, if you want to find out more information, you can go to the Facebook page of Amplified Wrestling. The doors open at 6 o'clock. Start time is 7 p.m. And that'll be 3 weeks from Saturday. It's at 151 East Cherry Street, McConnellsburg, PA. 17233 is the zip code. And again, it's Fight for a Cure, and it's for a really good cause. It's to help fight Ewing sarcoma, and it's only $15. Think about this, right? I know you're a billionaire, so you have no problem with this, but for just $15, you can go out and support a great cause. All the proceeds goes to this family for what they're going through. And also watch some phenomenal wrestling matches, including another one. I might actually want to get your opinion on because I know he's in the comments right now. Mr. V to the H and Brandon Castelli. I mean, certainly a battle of who might have longer hair, a battle of who might be more heavy metal, but I'm not going to ask you on those things. But the Mauler certainly had his own things he wanted to say. Van Hansen responded in kind here on Sportswire Radio last Monday, and I know you have no bone in this, but what do you expect here? Because I know Mr. Castelli is going to be here 2 days before the 24th. He's going to be here, and then Mr. V to the H is going to be back here once again, one more time to talk about the show on the 20th, 3 weeks from today in your chair. So, any thoughts on these two familiar faces you've probably seen around?
I've been in the ring with both of these men, and both of
I'm
these men are
aware.
the hardest hitting men I know of. Other than Cyrus, he hits pretty hard, but these two hit just as hard. And these two, I think, are gonna have one of the best matches of the night, in my opinion. And overall, I think if Brandon plays his cards right and kind of researches on Van, I think he'll find the way to defeat V to the H. But don't take Van Hansen for granted because Van Hansen's been doing this professionally for
I think
years,
almost 7 years. Yeah.
7 years. So you can almost say he has a veteran's experience in comparison to Brandon Caselli here. But
And we
at the
spoke about Brandon's struggles in the win-loss category. His struggles
yes,
have definitely been documented. And,
he's
Van
been
Hansen has been a champion, very,
yeah.
very recently. I know we're just getting to know him in DBW, but in other places, Van Hansen, he's no joke.
I can definitely agree with that, and I know Brandon's been on a kind of a downward spiral when it comes to things, but I think this is the time where Brandon wakes up and sees the threat ahead of him and actually prepare for this occasion, and I think he's going to be victorious in it.
Interesting, interesting. It's a really tough call on who to go here in this match, and I even heard you and Mr. Hansen happen to know each other also very well. I've heard through the chatter boxes out there that you and Mr. Hansen sort of knew each other and didn't realize you knew each other out there. I thought that was so fascinating. Apparently, wink, wink. I don't know
Exactly.
who I heard that one from.
We've known each other for just as long as he's been doing this professionally. We've shared same jobs together back in the day. We've 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 surprisingly been pretty close, more closer than I thought.
And apparently he thought the same, and you both didn't know you were actually in the same line of profession. I thought that was the most ironic thing I've ever heard in my life. I was
It's
like, wow.
crazy because last year, almost exactly to this date last year, I went to Kings and Queens and had this show, and I met Van Hansen. Well, reacquainted myself with Van Hansen, and we got
Yeah.
to talk, and we really got to throw it back and realize we actually live in the same town too.
Yep, I think like you're like minutes from each other. What a small world.
Yeah.
That's what the wrestling world has to say. Let me say hello to some people here as we have a little
Okay.
bit more time here. Mr. Chase Wakefield again is our 27th member of our Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame. That's the official banner and proclamation. That there you go. You have it there from the Bitcoin billionaire. There's where you're going to see him next on February the 24th. Again, Fight for a Cure, Amplified Wrestling. I cannot stress enough to please support this cause. This is a cause that I'm strongly supporting. I personally believe in it because of this young girl and what she's going through here. And obviously, Ewing sarcoma, a horrible thing. If you can out there, please go out and support. If you're in the Pennsylvania area, go out and buy a ticket. $15 is just so small compared to what's out there in the world. You're going to go out there and go to the movies, a sporting event. You're going to go out there for dinner, but this is only $15. So go out and support this cause. And I want to thank, obviously, Van Hansen for putting this cause together. And I look forward to continuing covering this event throughout here these next several weeks on Sportswire Radio. I also want to give a big shout out to the It Factor Cyrus, who's our U.S. Mr. Sportswire, because I promised I would certainly shout him out that way, because I got to give Cyrus a big shout out also, in addition to being our Hall of Fame. He did mention on Thursday Night Thunder Punch about Sportswire Radio. He specifically shouted us out. So, Cyrus, for that, we're always going to shout you out. You are certainly our U.S. Mr. Sportswire. So, thank you very much for that, my friend. And I want to say hello to some more people. My buddy Michael Blackheart, who by the way, you're going to laugh at this. I was actually referring to Festus Davis for like 5 months on Sportswire as his father-in-law, and turned out Festus said, well, I just want to let you know before we went on the air that Michael's not my son-in-law. He's actually my stepson. I'm like, oh, well,
Oh
I
wow.
guess that somebody didn't tell me that for the last 5 months. So you learn something new every day. Also, congratulations. Yes, absolutely. I definitely agree with you on that. Tom, you're talking to the Aaron Jones BFF for life. He's so
For
cool.
life.
There you go. For life. I'm thinking that they say the NWO for life. That would be like you and Aaron Jones for life. There, yeah, definitely, I agree about that. Also, yes, we say hello, Jules, to you and certainly to Cyrus. And congratulations. Absolutely no question about that. One more time, I can't stress this enough before we move on. You definitely want to support this cause. Facebook Amplified Wrestling. It's a phenomenal card. We've got a Rumble. Also, it's going to take place. We're going to see other stars out there, subject to be changed in terms of who's going to be on the card and whatnot. We also have a great women's match that people are going to really want to check out. And it's just so many great stars. And it's, again, if you're in the Pennsylvania area, if you're in Delaware, New Jersey, wherever you might be in the Mid-Atlantic, please go out there. Even if you can't go out there, go out and support this cause. I've lent my full support, my full endorsement to it. And I always say endorsements are not given here on this platform. They're earned. This is certainly an endorsement that is earned. And I promise you, this is going to be a show you will not want to forget for a very, very long time. Please go out there and support it. And again, February the 24th. And also I have, Cyrus. And also I forgot to bring this one up here. The Mauler or Mr. Rockhard, Brandon Costelli says, my boys are going to win the strap. So apparently, I guess speaking of people that can't figure out, where they are, he now says you're winning the tag team titles.
Listen, he was a big he was a big part of the Dawn's March,
Yep.
then as well as Silas. Those two together were my glue for this foundation that we had. And even if we don't see our differences, I think at the end of the day, even if we win or lose, I think Brandon Caselli will still be backstage congratulating us on a successful match.
All right, I got two questions to lighten the mood before closing thoughts. These are going to be fun
Okay.
questions. They have nothing to do with you. First of all, what did you think about Ace Christian's haircut?
Oh man.
All
um, you know who he reminds me of? Zach
right,
Zander told me this.
all right.
And I saw it, and I had to agree with him. He looks like Nick Wayne.
Yeah,
If
a
you
little bit.
if you look at Nick Wayne and if you look at Ace Christian and put the two photos to the side, and you know that office meme where it's like you can't I forget who says it. Pam says it. I can't spot the difference.
Yeah, I could see that a little bit.
That's the exact same. That's how I feel. I can't really tell the difference between the
Well,
two.
I'm gonna say this because I actually told it to him off the air because he asked me about the haircut and he asked me about the show, and I won't say what I said to the Blaze Ace Christian, but what I will say to make him feel good, I thought the haircut was a better haircut than the one Robert Pearson got. I thought.
Oh, oh man, that's not hard to do though. That's not hard to do.
I know that I know the certainly it's kind of anybody could do better than that, but no, Jules. Actually, I'm not saying Ace's haircut is bad. I said his haircut was better than Robert Pearson. So that's you want to certainly recheck what I had to say. But no, his haircut reminded me of one of the Beatles. That was what I said yesterday with Cyrus. It
Oh
reminded
yeah,
me of
I
one
can
of the
see that.
Beatles.
I can see that.
That's what it reminded me. Okay, so I got that out of the way. So obviously Ace Christian haircut, we're okay on that. So obviously, we'll see about what happens with that. But anything else you might want to say toward VTW that we could expect from you before I ask you another fun question?
I think if you haven't seen what BTW and what I had to bring on now, just wait until later down the road. Just wait until you see what I have in store. Because if you think my comedy and silliness is something now, just wait 2 or 3 months down the road and see what I'm gonna become. Because I'm only gonna top it more and more.
That's why I said the Hall of Fame ceremony tonight in my induction speech was that this is really a Hall of Fame ceremony and putting you in for the future. Because I really think, and I said this again as a host of the Sports Report, the owner of Sportswire Radio, your voice of all wrestling, where all wrestling matters, the Reverend Tom Bryce, the Bitcoin Chase Wakefield got into the Hall of Fame of Sportswire Radios tonight, really more for what he's going to do in the future. The future in VTW, the future in elsewhere, wherever it might be that you may show up, wherever you may roam, quote unquote. That's why you're in the Hall of Fame now, and you're going to probably be in multiple times. And I strongly believe that. So that's certainly I wanted to get out of the way. So when are you next going to appear on Brandon Costelli's vlog?
Oh man. I think pretty soon because I think he
Yeah.
has a vlog coming for when he went down to Hickory for BTW. I think he has one for that, so it should be pretty soon.
All right, and then next, when might you appear on Van Hansen's YouTube channel? Because Van Hansen's another one that's a Mr. YouTube sensation, the V to the H. I was wondering because he's got DVG doing his Metal Mondays. It's Metal Mondays, and DVG is no longer a part of DVW. So I have to think that Van Hansen certainly wants to up those YouTube subscribes. He wants to up those likes. He would want a Bitcoin billion. And oh, by the way, Aaron's best friend. So when are you appearing on Van Hansen's YouTube channel?
Mm, that's a great question, and the content that Van Hansen has, I really enjoy.
Me
I
too. I
enjoy.
love the video game stuff. He's got Super Mario Brothers on there.
Yeah.
He had
Um,
Castlevania. Movies. He's doing Star Wars. He's doing a Star Wars month in May. I mean, it's really interesting.
I know there was a few videos he made about developing video games and stuff, and
Yep.
so I have a experience into game development and game design as well. So I know he's messaged me privately about questions about specific things in game development, and I've helped him out with that. And I've pitched the idea of doing like a series where both of us do like a game development devlog in a sense.
Yeah, I think that would be kind of interesting. What some guys do is obviously with a lot of the Twitch guys do they go on and stream, and while they're on the
Yeah.
air, we have Chase for you, Chase Wakefield. We have Shane Davidson and used to be well, they used to be in TBW, Alan Michaels, and they stream on Twitch, and they're going to come on the show Monday and talk about some of the things they're doing. And what they do is they while they're on the air they Twitch, they play their games on Twitch, and then we have
Hmm.
Nicholas Krentz, who's getting inducted Thursday at 11 o'clock Eastern time. And he's also a gamer, and he goes out there. He and Sean Jovi, sometimes the resident rock star, the IMF guy, and certainly the WC Interstate Champions going in Saturday. They go out and share their experiences also on his YouTube channel. And maybe that's something you want to do. But yeah, definitely V to the H, though. You got to get this man on your YouTube channel. Costelli, your next one, yeah, I hope that you see the Bitcoin billionaire for sure on there. But that was my fun question. I feel like, you know what? I don't have many other questions. So my last question is there anything else you want to say about being in the Sports by Radio Hall of Fame before we sign off for the year? Because I feel like I've covered pretty much everything there is because we talked BTW. We kind of talked a little bit about DBW, but the season's not starting till March, so we'll come back with that. And we spoke about February the 24th, which I'm really, really excited about. And I think that's kind of like where we are right now.
I think as of talking about current events, I think that really is everything. But I would like to kind of I've been kind of prepping a little speech in my head as we've
Oh,
been talking on the show.
yeah. Okay.
And I just want to kind of get my words fully into being accepted into the Hall of Fame.
Please feel free. You're the first person that
So
actually is prepared to do that. So floor is yours.
I'm surprised no one else has done it.
I
They
think
watch enough WWE.
Justin Parsley kind of did. I would say Justin Parsley sort of did that. I would say Fletch talked about it, but Fletch is Fletch, if you know Fletch. So I couldn't say he
Yeah.
quite did that, but I'm giving it to you. So you're kind of the first
Okay.
one. Go ahead.
Perfect. Well, firstly, I just want to say thank you to everyone who supported me throughout, like the 10 years I've been doing backyard wrestling to the independents to semi-pro wrestling. Without you guys, I wouldn't be doing this. Second, I would like to thank Asher Christ, Mr. Judgment, whatever you want to call him, for actually taking the steps and training me on how to become a wrestler because I didn't go to a school. I didn't go to school. I didn't pay the school fees. I actually got trained by Mr. Judgment, who was trained by John Rambo. So he taught me the ropes, and he really gave me a platform to showcase what he taught me. First on the trampoline to now where we're at now with DBW in a building wrestling people I never thought I would wrestle. Um, Third, I just want to say thank you to the people at VTW for allowing me to be myself. Um, Basically, my character now at VTW is just me, persona like up by 10. Um, Another thing I want to say thank you to my lovely girlfriend who does show up in the chat, Janie. Um, Without her coming to all these shows and supporting me, I probably wouldn't be as happy as I am currently. Um, and lastly, I want to say I always teeter and totter the thought of being done with wrestling. Um, it always pops up in my head every like I would say like every other week it seems, but whenever I go back and see these interviews, see guys like you, Tom, who really show your support towards me, it really makes me think that I should keep going and really provide something to everyone that show their love and support towards me. So truly, without you guys, I probably wouldn't be doing this to this day. Um, but lastly, I just wanna before I finish this off, I can't wait to see what 2024, 2025, and the following years have for Chase Wakefield. Hell, even a maybe a new character someday in the upcoming years. Who knows?
Well, you know what? Listen, I'll address a couple of those things in a second, and I want to say something serious as well in that. But as I always tell people, the best is yet to come. I promise you. I know sometimes we have these days and, we're not sure about things and whatever else, but I promise you that the best is yet to come. And for your career, as I said, when I inducted you, when I do the speeches, and I've done a lot of these speeches and I speak to a lot of people, and as I always say, I don't know what people think. I don't know what's in their minds, but I can tell you what from the outside and what I think people will wind up doing. And I think that, and I know for a fact that the best will be yet to come for you. And we have not seen what you can do just yet. You have untapped potential. And I think that that's why we've inducted you in the Hall of Fame tonight, because I think the future for Chase Wakefield is going to certainly mean you're going to be in the Sportswire Hall of Fame on multiple occasions. You're going to wind up doing multiple things in different places. And you're going to be a guy that a lot of people who are already starting to notice are going to notice even further. So that's the number one thing I want to address. So automatically to me, tonight, the reason you're in the Hall of Fame is because of the future. Your future is putting you in the Hall of Fame. Yes, you've done a lot in DBW. I take nothing away from that. VTW currently. But in my humble opinion, again, I do a lot of these things. I speak to a lot of people. You're in the Hall of Fame because of the future. I also want to say one other thing when you talked about the fact about sometimes you think about quitting wrestling. And if I could very quickly, on the a lot of time that I have, we have a wrestler that comes on our shows from the UK named the Tribal Cheese. You've probably seen him on here. Very, very
Yes.
well known, a legendary wrestler in the UK. We mentioned him earlier when you spoke about the Funko Pop. And he talked about in a video he posted on his social medias about mental health. And he talked about the fact that, there's times he doesn't know what he wants to do in his life and he has these thoughts. And I will say this to you, as I said it to him publicly on the air a short while ago, that if you do have any issues and there's anything going on, you feel like that you want to quit, or if you want to just have a conversation, my line of communication is open. Let me repeat this: 24 hours a day. I will actually, I don't care, what my own responsibilities are. Like Fletch and XCW, I think that Festus and I were basically having a pissing contest between me and Fletch and the amount of time that we spent for our products. But leave that aside. If there's any time you feel like you want to quit or you're just whatever, you message me. And I promise you that I'll give you any time you want, and I'll give you any time of day you want, and the 100% floor that you feel if there's something that comes to your mind, because we take that very seriously on Sportswire. We support those that support us. And that's why I'm here after 5 years. That's why I started out like anybody else from a Skype conversation to where we just had some guy named Jimmy Controversy. So I will repeat that out there. At the end of the day, you have different thoughts. You message me, and I promise you, you'll be back to where you need to be. So we take that very seriously on Sportswire. Also, I want to say, yes, congratulations. Also, I want to thank certainly that individual who has names like Madonna. We don't know what his personality is, but definitely he has meant a lot, I think, to what he's done for his career. And I want to put it out there. There will be a day that he'll be in the Hall of Fame, and that's just a matter of when he wants to come back to Sportswire. So he'll be in the Hall of Fame with you. That's easier said than done. That's a no-brainer. But definitely, I want to thank you for all the things you just said. And I do really think that was kind of clever. You had your own, speech. I think Justin kind of did, but I don't think anybody else really had that plan. So, some people have been like, overwhelmed, some
Mhm.
people have been teary-eyed, but I think this was a good one here. So I think that was actually good. And you
You
definitely
know,
said all that you had to say. Yeah, go ahead.
when you told me about doing the Hall of Fame ceremony, I immediately thought WWE Hall of Fame ceremonies and like their speeches, And I'm like, man, this would be like the perfect time to do one of my own. So
Well, I mean, if you notice, listen, I mean, I actually do try to do something. I do about a 3, 4, we do 3 minutes, then I do the usual intro. I actually spend time on. I mean,
yeah.
I can't spend 30 minutes and do an introduction speech. But if I really make it to WWE Hall of Fame, people will be like bored already. They're like, come on, where's the intro? Where's the certificate? So we do a couple of minutes. We do it in a
Hmm.
nice way, and I think we kind of take some of those own things, but obviously we put our own twist on Sportswire's Hall of Fame. I think that's why I wanted you here now, because I think also you're going to be bigger. Our Hall of Fame here on Sportswire Radio, we're going to have college coaches be inducted from my college sports background in about a month or so. We have, Danny Burns to be inducted, who played in the Final Four, the second to last team from the city of New York City as a whole, to have played in the college basketball Final Four. We have, some other big names I'll certainly leave out and I'll tip my hand to later on. But that's why I wanted you here now. And I think it's a really important Hall of Fame. And it's actually, again, we have a lot of really unique people from all backgrounds. That's why I wanted you here, but also because of the future. And I thank you for that. Thank you for all you've done. And I think that your fan says hello. And certainly I'm sure that you would appreciate that. So definitely your number one fan. Yeah, there should be your number one fan. And also, I think Brandon will certainly get his place in history. Although Brandon, I feel like I got to talk about this match with Van Hansen first. But yes, definitely. Although I think with Brandon, real quick, when I induct Brandon, technically I'm gonna probably have to induct him for also vlogging in addition to being
Oh
a
yeah,
wrestler, because
for
he is a
sure.
pretty well-known vlogger. So I think I have to probably induct him for the vlogging. I'll have to mention the road trips, the trips to the Cracker Barrel, the trips to the zoo, the trips to the mall, the trips where he's out with family and friends. I'll probably have to mention those things. So I'm sure when I do Brandon's speech, it might have to be a little longer because he really is a big vlogger. But yes, we're gonna definitely induct Brandon very soon, and I want to thank Brandon for his support. I want to thank you, and now it's time to give you the floor. I've said enough. You have the floor. Anything else you want to say? Any other final thoughts? And fire away. And congratulations.
I think we definitely hit the mark, for sure. I don't have anything else to say, I would say. I also just want to say thank you so much for having me here for the third time. Um, Hopefully it'll be more and more to come.
Absolutely. Listen, I mean, I would have you on every day, but it's like I tell everybody else. If I bring you on every day, it's like, okay, what else do we talk about? It's like,
Yeah,
like when Tribal Cheese just came on last Wednesday. And it was like, yeah, we could have you on, but then like, what's to talk about? But no, obviously, we'd like to have you come back on maybe around the time of the DBW season to start. I think in March. I think that'd be a good time. Let's see how that takes place. VTW will have more matches, but yeah, I think we try to give everybody, in the rotation. There's certain people we like Dean Allmark. Like I don't ask Dean Allmark every month, do you want to come on Sportswire? Because Dean Allmark, it's like he's Dean Allmark. I don't ask, it's like I ask, hey, do you want to come on? And it's like it's like Mr. Allmark, would you like to come back on Sportswire? Although we are lucky at this point, Jimmy Controversy kind of decides when he wants to come on Sportswire. It's like, okay, Jimmy, if you want to come on, he's actually come on like 3 times in a month. But you're like,
oh
okay,
well.
Jimmy, yeah, but yeah, Jimmy, whatever you want, Jimmy. You're Jimmy Controversy. I ain't gonna tell you no, but yeah, but definitely, you're always welcome anytime. And I can't wait to have you on here very soon, especially with February 24th coming up. VTW, DBW is right around the corner. And obviously, we're not too far away from March, which is always a good sign because the weather's getting warmer. It's
Oh yeah.
lighter out. And who knows? Maybe I'm going to meet you in the near and distant future. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. Stay tuned for
That'll
that.
be a sight to witness.
I know. I'm getting the word for that. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. We're certainly not too far from each other, so we'll certainly hang on to that. But in the meantime, congratulations. Thank you for all you've done here for this sport. Thank you for being a great definition of all wrestling that matters. And I cannot wait to see what comes up here in the future for DBW. Certainly the future ahead for VTW, and especially a cause that's near and dear to my heart, February the 24th. Fight for a Cure. Congratulations for officially being our 27th member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame, the Bitcoin billionaire Chase Wakefield, the Double B, Aaron Jones, his best friend, most importantly. All right, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. That is the 27th member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame. His name is the quote-unquote YouTube champion of VTW. He'll have sole possession of that championship, I have no doubt, in a couple of weeks from now at Reunion. Stay tuned to the VTW page on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, now TikTok for more details. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, your voice of all wrestling, the host of the Sports Report, and the owner of the #1 global radio station, Sportswire Radio, where all wrestling matters. If you're on sportswireradio.org, you'll go back to your regularly scheduled programming. If you're on Twitch, YouTube, and Twitter, I'll be back here Thursday night at 11 o'clock Eastern Time with Nicholas Crenson, the new messiah of IMF and WCE. He takes his place as the 28th member of our Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame. You will not want to miss that one. I may be back on in between that. Stay tuned for scheduling announcements. But again, we want to thank Chase Wakefield, a member of our third class, the 27th member of our Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame, wrestling star from around the world. You'll see him upcoming again one more time, VTW and Amplified Wrestling with DBW. Until then, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, on the number one global radio station that is Sportswire